Let's welcome Reverend Demian Dunkley.
Okay. All right, please be comfortable. Thank you, Dr. Ki-Hun Kim. Thank you all of our leaders, our elders. God bless you. Can we hear from Las Vegas? Las Vegas! So you have to make so much noise, they hear you from the outside, you know? You know, Dr. Kim, I remember seeing many times in the Chonchimon reports in Korea, you know, when they set up a new Chonchimon, maybe you remember, many times they give some kind of testimony. We set up a Chonchimon, or we did like HJ Chombo workshop, and we're doing a lot of clapping and singing, and it's very loud, but it was okay. We didn't bother the neighbors because the rain protected us from making noise. But when I hear that testimony, I think, no, you have to make so much noise that you wake up the neighbors and everybody should hear us. Aju? Yeah, so let's not be shy. Only we should be shy if we're doing something we're not proud about. But if we're proud, then let's be bold. Aju? Okay, it's been a while since I've been here. Thank you for inviting me, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you, Dr. Kim. Thank you also. Let's give it up for Fred and Hannah, our new youth pastors and assistant senior pastors. We have, you know, it seems like back-to-back workshops. So I'm really grateful all of you who travel from around the country to come to workshop in the Chonchimon and Reverend Luki Gucci. I feel you spend more time in Las Vegas than any other city. All right, so the topic is resurgence. Have you ever heard that before? I feel like, you know, what we're experiencing right now in America, what we're experiencing right now, what we're going to experience is the greatest comeback story. Who likes a comeback story? Yeah, everybody likes, especially American people love comeback stories. Okay, so, you know, this just happened. Let's give it up for True Mother. Can you imagine this building being too small? It's a beautiful building, but we just proved that this building is officially too small, and there's more youth that could have come if the building was bigger. So, you know, we'll be talking more about that. But there was many titles for this event that were being thrown around. And I was working with the youth leadership that did a great job to put on a whole 2-day workshop to take care of everybody that was coming from out of town especially. And the word that really came to mind was resurgence. You know, many times we just make up some name for an event, but I really felt something powerful about this, the meaning of this word, resurgence, especially for the youth. So this is what I feel, you know, and I don't want you to think it's just happening for the young people. This is something that we are all a part of, okay? So centering on True Mother now, we are going to experience a massive resurgence. You hear Mother refer to like the third generation, you know, third generation. Really what we're doing, for those of you that know what I'm talking about, we're talking about right now, over the next few years, substantiating like a cosmic level 4-position foundation, centering on the true grandchildren. So that means we really are entering into a new era, and it means it's kind of like we're creating a whole new movement. Do you feel that? We need to work together on that, but we need to back our young people to lead the way. Don't you think so? Are you excited about that? Yeah. I think Mother's really excited about that. Her closing words were, "You give me hope," when she saw the room full of young people. Right? There's your scripture for today, okay? There's your scripture. So this is the image. This is kind of the image that comes to mind when I think about resurgence. At the same time, I understand it's a little bit masculine in nature, so maybe there's other analogies that we could consider, right? But really like breaking through. Actually, when I was thinking about the branding for that meeting with Mother, I saw this picture. Not quite like this, like there's the old like desert in some sense, and everything we've built around it, and then just from underneath the ground is like this shaking, and the ground is cracking and breaking and bits flying, and then, the big rockets, they go really fast, but they start off like so slow, right? It's like you can just see it happening before, and then before you know it, like that. That's the image that I feel Heavenly Parent giving me when I think about where we are at today in our movement, in substance. That's what I believe. You believe? All right. Now, what is this? This is another analogy. Now, you look at it, and it kind of looks beautiful. It kind of looks scary. It kind of looks fresh. It kind of looks old. You look at the top, it's got little, whiskers on its chin. Like, what is this thing, right? If you stick your finger into it, what kind of, do you want to kiss it? Do you want to catch it? Okay. It might not look from the outside like anything much. I love all the wires on this stage. It's great. It might not look like anything much, but this is everything. And I give this analogy because we are one. Every single person that, even those who came and left and maybe contributed for a day, contributed something to what we stand on today. Contributed something to the container in which a new life is being born. And so this is the other analogy you can say of resurgence, right? I believe this is another picture that describes where we are at in the movement, therefore where we are at in the world. There is a lot going on that might seem so much connected to the past and old stories, even old resentments and wars going on around the world. And even ourselves, if we want to enter into this new era, we too have to change. But we shouldn't think like our old selves was something bad. We had to go through a certain course to get where we are today. And it's the victory of traversing that course that allows us to go forward from here. Are you with me? So is this a beautiful picture? Isn't it gorgeous? Yeah, it took me about 13 weeks to paint this. This generation has a great mission. And I'm going to share with you today what I'm really inspired about. Actually, this is one of the major things I'm really inspired. Actually, you could say this is just my inspirational testimony. Okay? So, this generation has a great mission. But the point is, when you talk about, missionaries, it's really the mission that makes the missionary. And I have to say, and I'll be sharing with you some points today, I think that in some respects, we are doing a disservice to our young people. Because, and I've researched this, and I've spoken with leaders all around the world, and it seems like this is a common phenomenon. We start to think about our youth programs, Akira-san, our missionary programs, as experiences for our young people to grow. I think that's an incorrect main point. In other words, we put a lot of our energy in trying to design experiences that we think our young people will be safe and also have a good experience. I don't think that should be the first thought or the ultimate purpose. I think the ultimate purpose should be the actual mission itself. It needs to be something that is inherently impactful beyond just the course of the experience, and also beyond just a few new friendships that are made, beyond a new spiritual trial that is made, like much bigger and more sustainable. And the reason I say this is because I've just had an experience to witness kind of what's the status quo and what's the potential for change. So I'm really talking about what is going to be a driving force behind this new, what's going to be a driving force behind this new era and this new generation. I think we have to focus a little bit more on the substance of the mission, the impact of the mission, and the sustainability of that impact. And then if you do that, if you participate in something that actually has sustainable, measurable impact, then of course it's going to be a great experience, right? What do you say in Latin? I'm sure there's some kind of epto, facto, dipto, tacto, you know. All right, so, during these rebirth workshops, I read a letter from Asia. I spent 3 years, almost 3 years in Asia, in developing worlds, okay? Now, when you talk about, witnessing, when you talk about education, when you talk about, building movements, guess what witnessing looks like in a developing country? Yeah, it's called eating. Eating together, right? So as I share with you the pictures and the stories today, please think about, is that also applicable in America? Just ask yourself when you see it. The kinds of things that I'm going to show you our young people doing, is this also relevant for us here? So that's what I want you to think about. So I started to ask young people during these workshops, by the way, if somebody wants to go and do something, like overseas, maybe in Asia, where I have now a lot of contacts, let me know. And so certain people would come up to me and say, yeah, like a few people came up and said, but I realized I needed to speak with Roland, the director of GPA, our world-class youth training, program. I speak with him first. So I had a lunch with Roland, and he said, we have a so-called Chonilguk missionary program, I know that, but they're trying something new this year where they're trying to create some kind of new training program for the young people who already did like a 6-month overseas mission, and then next year they have to lead the following year's teams, right? It's like captain's training for overseas missionaries, okay? And he said that there might be a few people who fit that category that maybe could come to one of your countries. So let me know. So long story short, they ended up selecting like 5 of their best young people. And they had time between now and December to go and do something. So 5 young people flew from San Francisco to Thailand. And I didn't just send them to like the fixed system, or like just join whatever national CARP system is going on, because you really have to pay attention to where exactly are they going and what are they going to do. And there's one center that I used to work with in Thailand. So I was living in Bangkok, right? And there was one CARP center that I used to work with that I thought had great potential to become a community. We have these CARP centers where young, passionate, full-time, students. They're students and they're like full-time members who just do good things. But that environment is not the environment where you bring little kids or where you bring grandparents or where you do weddings and funerals, sangwas, because it's a full-time like training camp for young people. And I noticed that this is actually the majority of the so-called churches in Asia are like this, very much a pioneering frontline centers. And then if you're not full-time, you're kind of in another class of, community. There's no connect there. So I thought, how can we turn one of these full-time youth-oriented things into something that could become a community? And Yumiko and I picked one center led by C and P and Pin. That's their nicknames, C and Pin. You can say PC and P-Pin. That's like Pin-san and C-san. Right? P-Pin, PC. And this couple have a young child, and they have about 15 young people they're taking care of. But what I noticed about them, they really care for their members in a way that's parental. It's not like they're just a team captain or a leader. They're really parental. And I noticed when I went over to them for their dinner, I would ask, how many members do you have? And she said, well, we have 15. I said, well, why are there 25 people here? And she said, well, because I always like to invite over for dinner those who graduated several years ago. That's natural. That's also very unique, because oftentimes we're kind of more militant-minded. I don't have time. If you're not full-time, I don't have focus. This is a reality, right? So we were really intrigued by this center, really moved by them. And so Yumiko and I decided, and we reported to the national leader at the time. We said, look, we want to adopt this center and stick with them for life. 20 years later, I don't know where I'm going to be, but I know that if I ever go back to Thailand, I want to continually invest in, that group. that can serve as an example to others. At the time, I didn't know I would be leaving in like 6 months, but that's it. So I felt if we're going to send these 5 crème de la crème, and for those of you that don't speak French, that just means best of the best, or cream of the crop, cream of the cream, missionaries. Mie, Alexandra, Audrey, Kenta, and Erika. I don't know all of their names, but I know Mie Platt, because she's the director of GPA's daughter. Mie also went. So these 5 young people, 4 ladies and a gentleman, went on this adventure to Thailand and Cambodia, 43 days. They're there right now. And so when I was thinking, Dr. Kim, what I could share with our Las Vegas members today, I thought, well, this is kind of what's going on right now, and I'm really inspired about it, so maybe I should share this. And I'm going to be sharing some of their photos that I downloaded from our line group. So they left, I think it was just the end of October, they arrived on a 43-day trip. Because you can only stay 30 days in Thailand on a tourist visa, they're doing a visa excursion to Cambodia, which is a neighboring country. And, you know, like a 1-week trip to Cambodia, and then they'll go back. And they're nested in the community that I was just describing to you. I also had conversations with the national leader, and he said, oh yeah, no, Demian, don't worry about it. We'll take care of him. I'll put 2 here, 2 over there. They'll do, you know, they'll do the fundraising with all the locals, and they'll just all the regular activities. And I thought, yeah, that sounds like exactly what we should have done 10 years ago. But I feel like we're entering into a new era, and if you know me, you know that I want to be cutting edge. I want to be a change maker. I want to say, okay, this is great. Now how can we make it better? And so that's why I sent them to this center that I felt has really the type of leadership that Mother's desiring now. So we waited for them at the airport. This is the Bangkok International Airport. And these are some of the missionaries from that center. And we're just waiting for them to come. And then they arrived. There they are. They showed up with like flowers. And this is immediately they're being bombarded with, you know, Thai smiles and love. They went to the Chonchimon in the Bangkok headquarters church to pray. And then I took them to McDonald's. The 2 most important first activities, go to the prayer room and then McDonald's, just to comfort them a little, to let them know that you can get a burger if you need to. So we took them all out to McDonald's. And this is including some of the missionaries from the center who drove into Bangkok. It's about a 6-hour drive from the center. And then the next day was Sunday service. They gave their testimonies, and we took some pictures, some photos. And then they put on a whole youth activity. From some of the donation money that was given to me in response to me telling American members about what's going on in Asia, there was about, I don't know, in the last 4 workshops, I think we raised about 42,000. And so we just started using a little bit of that. I actually need to send a letter to all the, you know, donors. We started using a little bit of that to support these types of activities. And so we thought it would be a good opportunity for them to meet all of the second generation from Bangkok and all the young members there. So they put on a whole day of like party and food and sports, and I only have a couple of pictures. They're playing soccer together. So they really actually only spent 2 days in Bangkok, but when it was time to leave, they didn't want to leave because they felt so deep, the bonds of friendship that they'd already made. This is them in their van getting ready to head out to the front line. And from left to right, they're traveling about 6 hours from Bangkok, Thailand to Sudin. You can just make out there on the below, you see a sort of shady green line with a black line. That's the Cambodian border. So Cambodia is bottom right of the screen. So it's very close. On the way, we bumped into we're just stopping at a truck stop for like lunch, and we bumped in randomly in the middle of Thailand. We bumped into other blessed children that recognized us and came up to greet us and take a photo with these American blessed kids. So the trip was about 6-7 hours. And what did we do? First thing we did was go to the Chonchimon, and then explaining, actually there I'm explaining about the clothes behind me, because that's one of True Mother's clothes she gave, and that was gifted to this, not by me, I gave that to Mrs. Song from Reno, the only American member to get one of these, because she does HTM in Thailand. And I was so moved by her testimony, I gave her one of Mother's clothes. And what did she do? She gifted it to this center. So it ended up coming back to this center. So these are just the missionaries, and I want to introduce you here so you can start recognizing the faces. This lady in the middle next to my wife Yumiko, she's kneeling down with a big smile. That's C. Like C-san or PC, you can say, right? And then you can see the missionaries here. So Kenta, Audrey, Erica, Mie, and Alexandra. And then you have some of the local missionaries, just a few. Top right, I also want to introduce you. This guy is Dr. Tang Kimsuri. He was the former YSP president for Asia Pacific One. He's now the YSP president, vice president for all of Asia. And we're going to be working with him. And they prepared a beautiful feast outside. They welcomed us with a really lovely feast. And then these are kind of local VIPs who waited. We were late, so they waited an extra 2 hours to greet us, and they couldn't even stay to eat because they had to leave. And these guys are all Christians from the local community that PC has mobilized to be her supporters. You know, she has, for her workshop, they do the cooking. In the middle is a Manirat. Manirat is a Thai sister who did her missionary time actually in America. She speaks great English and she helps with translations. And she's been helping us a lot. And then the first thing was to go, not McDonald's this time, but to see some elephants. And actually I've got so many videos, I'm not going to show them all, but just a couple of pictures. And if you look here in the middle, this is Kenta getting an elephant massage. Yeah, it's really comfortable. I told him, take your phone and get a shot of the underbelly of the elephant walking over you. And then I started to worry that he's going to pee on him. Yeah, it's a pretty elephant, right? So actually, elephants are very common, and you see them around the countryside. Then we went to, this is one of the homes out of which the local HTM activity has been going on. And what you're looking at here is a traditional Thai ceremony. You see that string? So this gentleman in the middle with all of those yellow bracelets, kind of a tree of yellow bracelets, he's leading kind of a prayer. And the prayer is to welcome the guests. And these are recognized as special guests. And the meaning of the string that goes around the whole room is like wrapping around people's heads and getting in people's ears. It signifies like being one. We are one. And then after this, he sings a prayer, and then you see they're throwing leaves everywhere. That's like a prayer for abundance and blessing, right? And then they put these yellow bracelets on you, one by one. And as they put the bracelet on you, they offer a prayer from their heart directly to you. This is a tradition in Thailand, and I know you see me, I'm on my phone there. I'm actually on the phone to the, HTM, the Chombo guy here who couldn't make it, but I'm just greeting him. And then they say that it's a very big honor to receive this bracelet. And the tradition is to keep it on for like 3 days. If you take it off after 1 day, it means, you're just like pretending to be one with us. But if they see that you're still wearing it after 2 or 3 days, they really feel like, no, we are one. This kind of culture. So we had this kind of time together. And this is a great experience for our youth, don't you think so? To see all this kind of... So this is a workshop. So the first thing that they participated in was a 2-day workshop with 21 middle school students from the local village. Isn't that awesome? So this is the foundation that exists to be able to tap into. This is the leadership team. So now this is kind of when we're leaving, and what C told us is this. This is really interesting for all of you that really love witnessing, right? She sat down with me and she said, Demian, may I report to you what my plan is for these 5 young people that you sent here? And I said, please. And she said, okay, it's a little unusual, but I think it's going to work. She said the culture of this province is very family-oriented, very, bond-oriented. And so she said, for example, if you go to someone's house and some elders feed you, it's like they're taking the parent's position and you're taking the child's position, and that relationship will really strike a deep chord. If you stay 1 or 2 days, or you're involved more than just one meal, it can become like an eternal, not friendship, like familyship. So she said, I have an idea. I think the way to witness, she said, I picked one village, and this village has exactly 43 families. And the village chief already received the blessing from true parents in the local HTM activity, the marriage blessing. But they haven't really advanced beyond that. The village doesn't know anything about it. So she said, I want to witness to this village. I want our young people to merge together. So her 15 full-time members and our 5 missionaries became a team of 20. And she divided them all into groups of 3. And she said, I've chosen 6 or 7 households in this village, especially those that might have children or young people of a similar age. And I want to send our young people to stay with them, to live with them for 3 or 4 weeks. And here's the idea. I'm not going to tell them what to do. I'm just going to suggest that they follow heaven's voice to show up, to serve, to love, to learn, to inherit, and just to be. And that's what, and I thought, I looked at Yumiko, and Yumiko looked at me, and we looked back at her, and we said, yeah, it sounds like a crazy, fantastic idea. Let's try that. Because oftentimes we'll do some pre-program, we go out, we do some surveys, we bring people to some program. It's like, it can become transactional. But this is blood, skinship, familyship type witnessing. And so that's what they did. The next morning, when we left, they had no idea what was going to happen for the next 40 days. So Yumiko and I had to leave, and I sat down with Audrey and Kenta, and I said, look, all I want you to do is have an aggressively creative mind about how you can show up to make a difference, how you will show up to learn from the village, learn from the family you're with, and how to serve the family, serve the siblings, serve the village, and just have an experience. That's your mission. Not centering on your experience, but centering on serving. And so she met with them the next day and told them what was going to be happening. And for the next few days, they kind of prepared for that. This is the environment. This is the center. So they're setting out on their mission. And here they go. Off they go. There's Kenta on the back of an old man's moped. Going, he doesn't know where, right? So you go off to the village. There's farms. And all of a sudden now they got it there. He's now the son of this landowner. And it's now his job to help Dad water the crops. I guess they don't even have hoses. So he's, watering the crops. And this is Erika meeting her, homestay family. And on the right is another missionary. Her name is Lek. She's such a sweetheart. So these 2 missionaries are on the right, a Thai sister and a Japanese-born American sister. And they're trying to teach this Thai family how to play this game. And you see over here, there's this Thai family's youth. These guys always stay in their room on their computer or on their phone, but now they came out to just start to build relationship. But they can't hide. There's young people from America in their house. They can't ignore it, right? So they're having fun. This is just very natural kind of, what should we do? I don't know. Okay, let's play a game. And then they have to go out. And now this is kind of like a fruit farming. This is Mie Plat. So think about it. As they're serving, they're learning things that they would never otherwise do. That other young girl there is not a missionary. She's one of the local youth from the village. So I think they're pruning, and they're also putting these little bags around the fruit to protect the fruit, right? I guess this is rice harvest. I don't even know what this is. But look, Mia's she's like, now she's a rice farmer, right? Right? And then these are the elders that she's staying with. I have like gigabytes and gigabytes of videos and photos. But I think you can feel from just a few photographs this is just like 2 or 3 days into their journey. And they're learning how to make things, make food, different kinds of traditional Thai food. This is Kenta learning, and like, what's that? No idea. Let's put it in there and mix it up. Let's go back out and harvest some more crops and then come back in and make stuff with it. This is all traditional Thai things. So why are they doing this? They're doing this to take to market. Right? So now they're learning about, how to farm, how to harvest, how to cook, how to bake, and how to sell the product at market for income for the family and for the village. Isn't that cool? Ajoo. This is curry, Thai curry. They serve it in bags. One of these bags of curries, a full meal, cost about $1. You can get like a whole bag of that with some rice for $1. And then, in the line chat group, these little comments come, Lex shared that she could feel her team got a victory because she and our Thai sister could unite so well that we made the foster mother, who is a Christian, happy. The foster mother said that normally her son and daughter-in-laws always stay in their room. They don't like to come out. But today was so unusual. She said her son and daughter-in-law came out. Not only that they came out, but they prepared a mattress for us to sleep, and they went out to buy snacks. So these kind of very natural, visible, behavior-changing, life-changing outcomes. What is this called? John Hill Cook. Yeah. I'm getting these reports, and I'm having dinner with Yonanim at the time, so I respond to them. I just shared your reports and pictures with Yonanim. She's so inspired, and that's meaningful. You have to understand why that's meaningful for Yonanim when you think about the age of her children and what they're about to be doing. So this is just more pictures, random pictures. This is a university. This university is about a 5-minute walk from the center, 7,000 students. I met the university president while I was there. And I asked him, what is your mission beyond, I went through all of the schools, what kind of areas of study they offer. But then I asked, beyond that, what is the purpose of your school in the broader community? And he said, our mission is sustainable impact. And so I asked the president, how are they working on that? And I was really thinking, that's where we should be collaborating and working together. So they went back now to meet with the vice president of the school in their fancy meeting room and had meetings with him and in their offices. And then they planned some presentations, and they went to also, I think, a high school. So we have access to high schools, middle schools, universities. And if you have something to say, they'll give you the microphone to say it. Do you know what the big challenge in Thailand today is? They legalized marijuana. And so now you've got all these students, they kind of don't know any better. Okay, now that's legal, I'll try that. So now so many of the youth in schools are struggling because, they're being influenced by this kind of culture. If an American gets up on stage, a young person from America gets up on stage and speaks to a room full of high school students like this size, or even 2,000, they're all going to listen intently. Asking them to come to a workshop is not difficult. Actually, the real challenge is, are we modeling that what we teach? Are we modeling that which we teach? And I think these guys really are. They really became one with the local community, just within days. So you can see them taking pictures with the local youth and leading these various workshops and introductions. This was all to invite them to follow-up workshops. Look, this is what the president of the education program said. Inviting the young Americans to share their experience with the English students. And then the atmosphere was so attractive that then they were able to invite these youth to the center for follow-up workshops, which is what you see here. Very natural. Living heaven life together. So all these kind of reports of breakthroughs, real breakthroughs. Kenta is going back out to farm. I don't even know what this stuff is. Guys, I haven't even done this stuff. I guess he taught them how to make a burger. That's what that looks like. lots of cultural activities, elephants everywhere. This sister on the left is just from the village. She's not one of our members. So now Kenta's farming with this young girl from Thailand, and she's teaching him. So there's a real reciprocity, a natural reciprocity, and beautiful nature. Natural kind of education and sharing true father's book, true mother's book. So I agree with P. Kitjanut or P. Nut when he said, our missionary team, especially our blessed children who came from the other country and doing witnessing here, is creating a great harmony between our principal teaching and way of life in the tribal community. It allows people to learn heavenly tradition in a natural way. Go figure. And because of that, it brings about the support from government and private sectors too. So this is what's happening. And they see this impact. Yeah, a lot of the activity is literally like farming, fishing, right? Cooking, eating. But sharing life together is what creates that environment where, the education and all of that is very natural. This is him going out to see if he can catch his own fish. Bam, bam, bada bing, bada boom. And come and cook it. Everything's mixed with coconut. I think that they're making coconut flour there. Doesn't it look beautiful, guys? You want to go? Some of you want to have that kind of experience? You want your children to have that kind of experience? Yeah. Really heavenly and pure. Bam. That looks like, what does that look like, Dr. Kim? Reminds me of the bibimbap sessions we do. But it doesn't really look as tasty as bibimbap, but maybe it's tasty. So they're taking them out to the market to teach them how to buy what they need, the ingredients to cook the certain dishes, snacks with boba. And they're cooking. Now, our young people learning how to cook Thai food. Maybe they can open a restaurant when they get back. I believe that this experience they're having is having real impact. And because it's set within the environment where our center and our leaders and our activities are all connected, and because of the leadership of PC, I believe that this is sustainable impact. And do you know what their dream is now? They want to buy an oven, and they want to bake goods that they can sell in market, because she doesn't just want her youth to make money by fundraising, drop. Fundraising, die, She wants to find other ways. You might not make as much money by selling cookies at market, but you learn customer service, you learn baking, you learn salesmanship. She opened a coffee shop in Bangkok, and now they've moved that kind of activity to Sudan. So this is a kind of activity that I'm inspired about. I feel like it's worth investing in. Don't you think so? It just so happens, there happens to be a second generation in New Jersey, Nori To. He loves baking. And he asked me, Demian, I want to go somewhere in the world where I can teach people to bake. I want to go for 2 or 3 months, and I just want to give freely what I've learned how to do so that they can do it too. And guess who else wants to bake? This center. They just need to buy an oven. If they can buy an oven and a few pieces of equipment, then they can not only open up a baking activity to sell their product at market, they can also open up their own baking school to teach other young people in the local villages. You see? Very natural. So that's going to be happening. Alexandra, enjoying coconut water. So how do you feel when you see these pictures? Giving grandma a massage, that's Audrey. How do you feel? I don't want you to feel jealous. I want you to feel, I want you to feel either I want to go or I want to support others to go. Bam. That's how you eat. That's how you cook. You do everything on the floor. Oh, look. Mia now looks like a professional. The first 2 days when I was there, she couldn't really eat anything. She was like, my stomach's a little... Now she's like, And you know how cute these guys are? They all learned how to count to 1,000 in Thai before they arrived and how to introduce themselves, right? I didn't do that. I'm really impressed with them, really, really impressed with them. And this is like they're having 2 nights ago, this is like their closing meeting after a workshop, something like this. So in a couple of days, in a few days, they're going to go from Sudan, driving across the border to Cambodia. You've heard a lot about Cambodia. Guess what? Dr. Kimsri is from Cambodia, and guess what he has been saying for years? He's been begging the national leader of Thailand, please send missionaries to Cambodia. You know, we're friends with the prime minister, but we have hardly any manpower on the ground. Please send some Thai members to Cambodia. They never did it. They never got around to doing it. Well, guess what's happening now? Our 5 young creme de la creme GPA youth are traveling in a van from Sudan to Cambodia with 15 young Thai missionaries all together as one. They're going to go to the HQ. They're going to meet the other young Cambodian members, do activities together. They're going to go see the museums like the Killing Fields. All of those spirits that Mother liberated with the blessing is real. That's a whole nother testimony I can share another day. They go to Angkor Wat. This is one of the most ancient cities in the world. Cambodia used to be the Khmer Empire. Actually, the Khmer Empire had all of Indochina. You know, Thailand came later, so there's a whole history there. So it's very meaningful and restorative for young Thai people to go to Cambodia to serve. And in the same way, they're going to be together, seeing sights, eating together, sharing together, and doing what they can to serve. And of course, renew their visa to go back to Thailand for their final week. So the question is, we here in America, what kind of love do we want to spread to the world? I know that we have to get our own house in order, right? Our own families, our own communities. But I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. In fact, I think it's a requirement. As men, we tend to think linearly, one thing at a time. And that's true. But if we use our right brain, we can also realize there's a way of doing other things simultaneously, circular. So in order for our families and our communities to have a greater sense of direction, I honestly think, you look at the foundation of this nation, the birth of this nation comes with a specific purpose in mind. And it was more than just, making a comfortable environment for ourselves. That was one of the energies that came into America. But the internal energy that planted this nation with all of the challenges we've faced was, can we be a free people that are free to worship God and, in fact, offer that for the sake of others? America is uniquely blessed to do so, don't you think so? So if we want a happy heart, a happy couple, a happy family, a happy community, a happy nation, can we build any of that if at any point in time we become confused about what we're doing overseas for other people? It's not just, if we start talking about what our government and military can do, it's limited. But what can Christianity do? What can our faith leaders do? What can our faith communities do? What can we do? What can our next generation do? Is it our destiny? I believe so. I believe America is destined to become the greatest Hyojang nation in the world, giving and serving overseas. But I want to do it in a different way. I want to focus more on strategic, meaningful, impactful, substantial change in the areas where we go. I don't just want to go somewhere to paint a wall, to take some pictures and come back and say, I made some friends, I painted a wall. No. You know what? If 5 people go fundraising for a couple of weeks and bring that gift to serve in their local, in some impact zone, you can do a lot. Right, Akira-san? You can do a lot. But what we've been doing until now is different. We send our young people with just enough money to eat, and then they do fundraising in their host country as an experience. That doesn't help anybody because they're raising 5% what they can raise here. So that shows you that the mindset until now has been safety first and then kind of good experience second. But impact has not been really considered, and this is a worldwide phenomenon. Somehow we've let this happen. So this is my conclusion. This is what I'm excited about right now. Family Federation USA. What are we going to do? After leaving Thailand, I started to feel a little bit guilty, Dr. Kim. Because I'm like, wait, I'm the regional chair of America. What am I doing, spending a whole week with 5 young people in some rural area in Thailand? Yeah, it's very good. I'm learning a lot. But it's not my mission area, is it? But I learned so much in that 1 week by asking these young missionaries, what do they usually do? What do they want to do? What do they think could be improved? I was looking at it with my own eyes, and I felt heaven really guiding me. And I wanted to come back to America and completely rebuild, renew, and like build on top of our GPAs like world class. And I want to make it better. And specifically, I wanted to work on our missionary program. That's what I was thinking. Honestly, I wasn't thinking about this like 6 months ago. It really came to me. Then I went to Korea. And guess what True Mother's thinking about? So, maybe I'll share more. But look at it this way. Imagine if one of our major focuses that is a driving force for our next gen is HJ peace building. I know we've got problems at home. I know we have challenges at home. But just showing up on someone who has less than you, has greater challenges than you, showing up on their doorstep puts all of that into a new perspective. And it's a restorative thing. I think it's a restorative thing for the individual, and it's a restorative thing for our nation, especially anybody that contributes to it, prays for it, supports it. So we can all do this as one. Imagine if Family Federation USA really becomes world-class in HJ peace building, Hyojung peace building. We send these missionaries like peace builders around the world with a greater focus on where do you need America's help, and what are we equipped to be able to do in substance. So you're always going to want to first look at safety. Isn't that right, Makiko-san? Safety? You have to consider safety because you're getting young people to sign up for a public program. But you also need substance. We need to be thinking about what is actually going to make a substantial impact beyond just giving our youth a good experience. And sustainability, what will be sustainable in that area after we go. Even if you have a great experience, I'm telling you, what's going to give you the best experience is coming back home thinking you really did something, right? So it occurred to me there's like 3 major areas you need to focus. So true love, true friendship. This is the orientation. And out of this relationship, there's really 3 main areas where we should be bringing substantial impact. This is always going to be the case. It's going to have something to do with food, health, or education. Here's what I'd like to see. When you consider the challenges we're facing in Japan, here's what I'd like to see, and I don't know why we don't have it yet. How about 10 years from now, we have a color brochure that shows, we've opened 15 clinics in Africa, 25, English or Korean language classes in Southeast Asia, and we've opened 10 coffee shops, and we've fixed 3 wells, and so on and so forth. All these things actually make some money. Some of them might even be able to be profitable. That's what we should aim for. And guess what? Half of them may fail, Mimi, but we will learn from 100% of those initiatives, and we will go back the next year to fix what went wrong. Aju? So we don't just send people. What we actually need to focus on is having people on the ground who can really investigate where are the areas that we really can bring substantial impact. And is that local leader not just good at taking care of young people, but are they also good at, or could we train them to be good at financial management, transparency, and so on? These are all things that need to be considered. Beyond just going to kind of clean some streets or paint a wall, which is great. But I want to think about what we could show after 10 years. If we had that kind of color brochure right now, do you think the Japanese government would be toying with the idea of dissolving our church? How can you? Right? I think the concept of spiritual children, all of that comes naturally. Don't you think so? So I believe this is the era that we're in. I think a mother's really excited. If you want to know what mother's really excited about, like what makes her jump off her seat is the idea that her grandchildren are getting ready. They're about to graduate their UPA thing, and they're going to go on a 2-year missionary life experience. And along with that, what mother's thinking about is sending several more young people from Korea and Japan and America and Europe, and to go out to the world. So where should be the launch pad for that worldwide missionary program? You know what Mother said? She even said, wouldn't it be great if our young people, after they match, go on a mission together? 1 or 2 years? After they match and bless, go on a mission together? Or match and bless with somebody who also had a similar experience? Wouldn't, you know? It's the mission that makes the missionary. We might keep people in the classroom too long, in the theory too long. We got to lead with spirit and truth and actions involved. And when you see as American people, Japanese and Korean people, Europeans from first world developed nations, when you go overseas and see how pure and simple-hearted people are and how grateful they are to receive any amount of friendship or help, the idea of bringing them to a workshop, that's easy. Introducing true parents to them is easy, but if you only limit it to some theory explanation, it's limited. But when you eat together, work together, farm together, fish together, sing together, sleep together, live together, and do something together that's constructively impactful for the sake of the village, the community, how can you not want to be a part of that, both there and here? Our first gens and second gens, our families will want to pray for it and want to support it and build it out, don't you think so? There's a very good chance that those young people will come here to America next year. So what if America can offer a proposal to create not only world-class, cosmic, 4-position foundation class, HJ Peace Building Academy? I think you might be able to understand that's why what's really inspiring me right now. There's a lot of things we got to do. And as we're dealing with all of these challenges, you all know about it. What is the new thing that's going to come out of all of this, out of everything that we've lived for, sweat for, prayed for, sacrificed for until now? We've given everything. You've given everything. And so what will come out of it will be something incredibly beautiful, incredibly creative, incredibly never before seen, and we're all going to be a part of it. Are you? So let's give it up for Heavenly Parent and true parents and the next generation, the new era. Thank you very much.